So that was really exciting. I thought, I had to open an office there because they do something wrong, you have to make them do it. And they do it. And they're very nice about that. But this is Hong Kong. That's Chap-Lac, Norman Foster's airport. Everything's quite close together. And things are quite green because these are very steep. So there's nothing built on them. These are no build zones. And this piece where our project is was quite green. And I thought it's very important to save as much green as possible. And it's very important to get a view of the South China Sea if we can. And there's a tunnel. And that leads us back to Shenzhen. So it's over there. It's a competition. And these are the competitors from the competition that failed. They have, the problem is a hotel, the corporate headquarters, and condominiums. And, you can see almost everyone. There's a hotel, corporate headquarters, and condominiums. Anyway, so now they decided they hated those schemes, so they had another competition. They invited MBRDB and us and 2 other Chinese firms. And I said, let's not do a hotel, let's just do one building. In fact, let's float it so that you can see the South China Sea. So the idea really came from the nature of the site. Let's make the maximum tropical landscape. That means free up the ground plane, give it back to the public. And these people are really an interesting client. They're very idealistic about it. They also came with the charge, make this as green as possible. We want LEED's platinum, the highest rating. That's the beginning. That's part of the competition rules. This is mountains in the back, so this is very good feng shui. Because if you have mountains in the back and you face south, it's perfect feng shui to face south with the mountains in the back. So that shape really makes sense. But the main thing is there's a lot of little buildings, 4, 5, 6 stories down here. If you get up to the height that you need to get, and this is, let's make one building, hotel, condominium. And also, I said, look, if the condominium or the hotel get bigger in the program, you just move these walls and you can slide, you can make more offices, and there's some flexibility. And then this was an idea. Instead of building, on the ground and using up the landscape and having a few pieces at 35 meters, build the whole thing at 35 meters. I mean, again, this is like a student project. Okay, build the whole thing at 35 minutes and you have ocean views, and look, you can free up all this, and this is tropical, and shade is good, right? So you get the tropical, and shade is good. I mean, okay, so you gotta go 20 meters up before you get to the first floor. And elevate to create a microclimate. Microclimate. The breezes go through. There's a lot of reasons why this makes sense. Actually, for condominiums, if they have ocean views, they're going to be much more valuable than if you put it down on the ground. So I have all these, and program flexibility. So I have all these reasons. This is a cool reason too. This is the Saki-Walker plan, and it only creates 28,000 square meters of landscape. Our plan creates 75,000 square meters because we have also a green roof. We're not building on the ground. I think that's what won it for us. So we won the competition. Then I thought, my God, what's going to happen now? So I said to the engineer, I said, well, first of all, is this tropical landscape underneath. But I said to the engineer, I said, when I was drawing that competition, by the way, these are what I call Shenzhen windows, where there's windows in the floor. So on the bottom floor, suddenly you can go down and go into a window that looks 360 around. These are going to be terrific, 360. I said, I was, kind of idealistic. I said, I put them in 50 meters on center, the cores, but we could do it in 30 meters on center. And the Chinese engineers said, no, we want the challenge of 50 meters. It's incredible. And it's about the landscape. So the landscape takes its inspiration from Karl Brody Marx. The mounds, these also have restaurants. There's a restaurant, there's a kind of Chinese restaurant in this mound. There's an Italian restaurant, there's an auditorium. I also added a 500-seat auditorium, which they didn't have. After we won the competition, I said, don't you need a big auditorium space? And I added this 500-seat auditorium. And they said, yes, that's good. Landscaping is very important. struggling with that because there's not good landscape architects in China. The green roof, we have 1,200 solar panels. We have, in Shenzhen, you have a problem that groundwater is 71 degrees. So unlike Beijing, where we have 51-degree water that we can heat and cool the building because of the flywheel effect, when we take 2 degrees of temperature out in the summer for cooling, we actually raise that groundwater, we harvest it again in the winter. So it has a way of sustaining itself. It's very good. It's a closed loop system. But here, the groundwater was too warm. So we have many other things like movable sunscreens, solar shades, and there's a public path. The main public aspect is on the groundwater. And that's the headquarters of Vanke International. The client's name is G.S.A.P.P, a very idealistic man. That's his office. There's a light fixture. That's just like a project. Every time they go there, they say, why don't you do these interiors over here? Why don't you do these interiors over here? So it's like, every time I go there, it's like getting another project because it's so large. So here's the conference room with translucent. Here's a foamed aluminum. That's the auditorium that I added, the 500-seat auditorium that I added. That's in foamed aluminum. Here's a polychromatic bar. The project's big. You can't do the details. And here's the engineer. Let me get his name right because he's a very interesting man. His name is Dr. Xiao from C.A.P.R. And Dr. Xiao says, no, we're going to keep them 50 meters on center. And here they are building the model, the earthquake model. And it's got it's the maximum earthquake it has to take. And it's very inventive. It's a rigid concrete frame with cable stay technology. And they're loading up on this shaking platform with 40 tons of lead blocks. And and they came up with this, not Dean Ortonson. It's the cable stay technique. That means the maximizing of the steel and tension mixed with the concrete frame. That means there are no trusses in this building. And it's 50 meters on center, the cores. Pretty interesting, really. And they made the engineering, and we're working on the architecture, we're working on the skins, working on the. Then suddenly I realized, what happened? What are these things? And here's the problem that they came with. They didn't even tell us about it. The problem is, it's a great idea to mix the cable stay technology to the rigid concrete frame, but the transfer points for the cable stay into the frame, the loads are tremendous. So at each transfer point, you need one of these cast iron joints. This is a 3,000-pound cast steel joint. And we're like 130 in the project. That's Lee Hewitt. Don't worry about it, Stephen. They want to do it. He always reassures me. I like to freak out, you know. I said, look at those! These are going to be post-tension to some kind of enormous tension to hold that concrete frame. And there are 2,000 people working on the site, and they say it's going to be framed up by the end of June. But I was there on